Peace in your classroom comes from what you do every single day, long before the bell rings, regardless of your building, your roster, or the administrator running your school this year. Some of the most resilient educators in history taught during wartime rationing, in classrooms with no supplies after losing everything they owned. Their advantage was a set of daily habits. This is a list of 8 things calm, grounded teachers do every single day, no matter what the year throws at them. Like near the end, I'll show you the habit that changed how I taught more than any professional development I ever sat through. So stick around for that one. Your classroom happens because of you, not to you. Maria Montessori argued that before you can prepare a room for children, you have to prepare yourself. She called it becoming the prepared adult, steady enough that the environment can do its work. The teacher's own steadiness is what makes a room calm. That steadiness shows up in small moments all day long. It's the 3 seconds between a kid rolling their eyes at you and your response. It's the beat between an email from a parent and the reply you send. A burned out teacher and a grounded teacher are often standing in the identical classroom. The difference is who stayed the prepared adult in it. These 8 habits are how you rebuild that steadiness through repetition. Habit 1, protect the first 10 minutes. Before you open email, before you check the group chat, before the day's first fire finds you, give yourself 10 unclaimed minutes. Brené Brown talks about boundaries as the thing that makes trust possible, including trust with yourself. And if the first thing you do every morning is absorb someone else's urgency, you spend your whole day reacting to everyone else's day instead of starting your own. Apply it. Pick one small ritual, coffee at your desk, 5 quiet minutes, prepping the room, and protect it before anything digital gets a vote. Habit 2, let yesterday's class stay in yesterday, the lesson that flopped 4th period, the comment you wish you hadn't made. Maya Angelou wrote about carrying every misstep and eventually learning that she'd done the best she could with what she knew at the time. Name the misstep once, then let it close. Apply it. At the end of the day, name what didn't work once out loud or on paper and stop there. Habit 3, sort what's yours from what someone else's. This idea comes from a formerly enslaved Stoic teacher named Epictetus, who put it plainly, certain things are within our power and certain things are not. Your lesson plan, your tone, your prep belong to you. A student's home life, a district mandate, a parent's mood belong to someone else. Apply it. When school stresses you out, ask one question first. Is this mine to fix or mine to respond to? Put your energy only into the first category. Habit 4, debrief before you drive home. A 30-second gut check works better than a grading session for this. What went well, what didn't, what's one adjustment for tomorrow? Pema Chodron describes this kind of pause as staying present with things as they actually are instead of the story you tell about them. Apply it. 3 questions in the car or at your desk before you leave the building. Win, snag, adjustment. Habit 5, rehearse the hard conversation before you're in it. The Stoic writer Seneca practiced imagining setbacks in advance, arriving at them already steady rather than caught off guard. The angry email, the kid who's going to test you 5th period. Walk through it mentally once and it stops blindsiding you the second time, the first time it actually happens. Apply it. Before a conversation you're dreading, spend 60 seconds picturing how it might go sideways and decide now how calm you respond. Habit 6, do the hard thing on purpose. Angela Duckworth's research on grit keeps landing on the same finding. People who handle real difficulty well have usually practiced smaller difficulty on purpose. Eat lunch with the colleague everyone avoids. Call the parent you've been putting off. Small, chosen discomfort builds the muscle you need for the discomfort you didn't choose. Apply it. Once a week, pick the task you're avoiding specifically because it's uncomfortable and do it first. Habit 7, feed your mind material that took real effort to make. A chapter of a real book beats a doom scroll through teacher, TikTok at 9 p.m. A slow conversation with a mentor beats both. Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset makes this same case. The input you choose shapes whether you experience this year as fixed or as still being built. Apply it. Swap 15 minutes of scrolling for 15 pages written by someone who actually thought it through. Habit 8, and name one specific good thing out loud. Skip. Today was fine. Go specific. The kid who finally got it, the colleague who covered your duty without being asked. Jane Goodall spent a lifetime insisting that paying close attention to small details is what lets you see the whole picture clearly. Vague gratitude fades. Specific gratitude sticks. Apply it: one specific sentence, same time every day, end of last period, or right before you leave the lot. If habit 6 felt uncomfortable to even read, that's usually a sign it's the one worth trying first. Subscribe for a new habit like this every week, same honest teacher voice. Edith Eger survived Auschwitz as a teenager and spent the rest of her life as a psychologist. She wrote about carrying a daily awareness that time is finite, framed as clarifying rather than morbid. She called the ability to choose your response, even in the worst circumstances, the last human freedom. For a teacher, that translates into a simple, slightly uncomfortable fact. This exact group of kids, this exact year, only happens once. This schedule, these 90 minutes with third period on a Tuesday, this particular roster of names, none of it repeats. Sitting with that for 30 seconds a day sharpens the ordinary days. Instead of letting you coast through a Tuesday you'll never get to redo. This habit reframes the other 8. It's the reason the list is worth doing at all. A better school, a smaller class size, a different year than the one you got. None of this requires any of it. It requires repetition. Pick one habit, practice it for 7 straight days before you add another. Tell me in the comments which one you're starting today. I read every single one. Follow for more resilience tools built for the actual classroom, not the theory of one.